I think that you can probably see some progress in this area because not only, as you just mentioned, the Saudis and the Emiratis, but other countries in the region are also looking to invest in AI. I think that the main purpose for President Trump's bringing his first trip to the Middle East is because he really wants to show Americans that he is able to bring investment, is able to bring sales and jobs back to Americans. And I think one of the ways that he's really going to do this is through sale of advanced technology. In addition to sales of chips and changing of the chip diffusion rules for Saudi Arabia and the UAE, I think you can also expect on the margins of these talks some significant defense deals as well, because Trump would like to see hundreds of billions of dollars of defense deals over the next 4 years. In addition to that, he is going to try to make sure that Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar make good on the very large pledges that they have made to invest in the United States. Saudi Arabia has said that they will invest either $600 billion or $1 trillion in the United States over the next 4 years. The Emiratis have said they will invest $1.4 trillion over the next decade. These are huge amounts of money, and these companies and countries already invest a lot in the United States. Maybe the third thing that President Trump will want to see, and you talked about it in the story a little bit earlier, the price of Brent crude has been between $60 and $65 a barrel, and that means that gasoline prices in the United States have been relatively stable and low. I think President Trump will want to get pledges, particularly from the Saudis, that the prices will stay as low as possible so that he can continue to bring low gasoline prices to Americans at home.
Douglas, so much to unpack there, but let me follow up on chips first. Of course, the Biden administration did not allow these advanced US AI chips to flow to the Gulf because there was a fear that this region could become a backdoor to China. What do you think the strategic upside is for the United States if it does choose to go ahead and help these Gulf countries build out their AI capabilities?
Well, both Saudi Arabia and particularly the UAE have decided that the United States is winning the war for AI and that the United States technology, at least right now, is better. So they want to use American technology. They also want to link their advanced economies, data centers, data management, and purchase of things like chips to the United States and be a partner with the United States in being the hub for not only the Middle East, but for Africa and parts of Asia going forward in information management and data centers. So I think that you will see a long-term economic goal on the part of the countries in the Gulf. For the United States, Donald Trump wants to see public announcements of hundreds of billions of dollars of investment and of purchases. And frankly, he doesn't have to actually sign the contracts to deliver these chips tomorrow at the Saudi Investment Forum. What he can do is get the pledges that they will be able to relax the diffusion rules on the advanced chips, and then work out the actual details for the protection of the technology going forward. There does remain a fear that the United States, if it sends too many of these chips to too many places, will lose the exclusivity of that technology, but those details can be worked out. And this trip is going to be about announcements of big deals and feeling good and making sure that everyone in both the Gulf and in the United States knows that the United States is linking its economies and its high-tech economies with those of the Gulf.
Indeed, a real reflection of the president's transactional approach to foreign policy and how this is ultimately going to be optics-led. As you say, these trillion-dollar Gulf pledges have certainly attracted a lot of attention. Douglas, are they real or is this just smoke and mirrors?
Dan, the pledges are actually real, but the numbers may not actually be real. For example, Saudi Arabia, according to the IMF, is going to have a GDP this year that should cross $1 trillion. But if the Saudis plan to invest $1 trillion in the United States over the next 4 years, that means they will be investing 1/4 of Saudi Arabia's GDP in the United States. Frankly, I think that that is an unrealistic amount of money. However, I do believe that there will be hundreds of billions of dollars of Saudi investment in the United States. Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Qatar all want to link their economies, and especially their forward-looking high-tech economies, to the United States. So even if the Saudis don't quite reach $1 trillion of investment over the next 4 years, it will be a significant amount of money and will have an impact both in the United States and in Saudi Arabia.
Douglas, on another issue, the Trump administration is also trying to justify accepting this gift from the Qataris, a $400 million Boeing jet. They say that they can't get it from Boeing at the moment because of these supply chain issues, so this gift will actually help the administration and ultimately help the United States. Is it a constitutional violation? What's your take?
Well, I think the best solution is for Boeing to actually produce the 2 new aircraft for which they have contracted. That will make it easier for everyone in pushing forward on getting the president on a modern high-tech aircraft. It's not as if the United States Air Force is going to simply take the Qatari aircraft, slap a U.S. flag on the tail, and begin to fly it with the president inside. There will need to be significant modifications in terms of security, communications, and other electronic suites that the Qataris will not have on their plane. Ultimately, however, I think that the president accepting this gift for the U.S. Air Force in the short term and for his presidential library in the long term shows some of the ways that he is willing to bend the traditions of the office. And a gift such as this, if theoretically to the United States, if it ends up being used by President Trump after his presidency, it could unfortunately increase partisanship in the United States. And frankly, it could also change the way that many Democrats in the future will look at least Qatar, if not the other countries of the Gulf. So there is also some risk to Qatar, I believe, in suggesting such a gift to President Trump. There is, however, not much question that the aircraft that should have been delivered by Boeing a couple of years ago really are needed for the president. So there's a need here. This may, however, not be the best and most politically stable way for American politics to fill that need.
Just on another issue as well, if Trump does go ahead and change the name of the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Gulf, would Gulf leaders see that as a welcome change, or would it be a diplomatic hand grenade for the region?
I think Gulf leaders see that really as a diplomatic gift. Although talking to some of my Iranian friends and some Iranian analysts here in Washington, they say that it is probably the one step that President Trump could take that could unify all Iranians of all stripes against the United States. It is such an emotional issue in Iran as it is on the Arab side of the Gulf. It's probably something that he should have stayed out of and let the 2 different audiences call the Gulf by different names. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it probably will not make a lot of difference. It is a symbolic, valuable gift to the Gulf as he goes. It shows the goodwill from Trump and the United States for the countries of the Gulf. On the Arab side, they all call it the Arabian Gulf, so he is joining with them. The question will be, will there be any complications on the other side, particularly as President Trump and his administration engage in negotiations with Tehran over a nuclear deal and perhaps more than a nuclear deal?